These are 6 mistakes I think you're making on your application if you're applying for fall 25 or spring 26. I want to make sure that you're avoiding them completely. Number one, you're not applying to safe schools. Right now, the competition among Indian students is insane. There's a lot of people applying to the same universities, universities like Georgia Tech, Purdue, UMCP, Northeastern, ASU, UTD, UT Arlington, UT Austin, Texas A&M. All of these universities are getting a lot of students. What happens is that students spend all of these months figuring out applications, spend money, spend their time in GRE, GMAT, TOEFL, and then they're applying to amazing schools, no doubt about it. But maybe there are better students who are applying to the same schools like you. In that case, you might not get an admit. And at the end of the admission cycle, when March, April, May, then you might not even get one admission. So my recommendation is apply to safe schools. Apply to a few safe schools in case you do decide that, hey, even though I didn't get into the university I really wanted to, I got into these universities which are actually still good. You have the choice to make. The worst thing which can happen is not having a choice after your whole admission cycle is gone and you have spent 6-7 months in application procedures, and then after that you don't have even one admit. That's the worst thing. Apply to some safe schools. Second, waiting until the last moment to make the deadline. I've seen so many students, their deadline is like 15 December and then they're asking the professors to send out letter of recommendation on 12th of December. That is not justified for either the professor or anybody else, right? Like even the student is in stress. Don't wait until the last moment to punch in your application. What I mean by punch in an application is basically submitting your application. Do not wait until the last moment. Why do you have to wait until then? Figure it out that, hey, my deadline is 15th of January. I will be done with everything, including statement of purpose, submitting all of my GRE score, TOEFL scores, submitting my resume, and even asking my professors to submit my LORs by 5th of January. So I have 10 days in case something goes wrong. I can still submit the additional documents the university might require. My recommendation is not to wait until the last moment and finish your application early on. Just because if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. You shouldn't be waiting until the last moment to take care of your application, especially when you're spending so much money and putting in so much effort to achieve your dreams. Third, copy pasting statement of purpose. Did you know that I created this custom GPT which helps you write SOP? I trained it on Harvard and Princeton SOPs so that you are able to modify your SOP and improve it. But what a lot of people do is that they get a SOP from one of their seniors and they're like, hey, this worked for this university, I'm gonna just copy paste. There's a lot of plagiarism which happens in SOP as well, and people and universities have the tool to catch that plagiarism. My recommendation is make sure you're not copy pasting it, modifying it on your own. Have a great starting. Be more technical if you're applying for engineering schools. Be more motivational and emotional if you're applying for a management school, and write your SOP early on. Get it reviewed by people, get it reviewed through the custom GPT I've created. I'm going to leave that link in description as well, but just don't plagiarize that SOP. Number fourth, applying to only famous colleges. I've talked about this in number one, right? That if you're applying to only top colleges like UT Austin, Texas A&M, ASU, UTD, you're missing out on different colleges which are in smaller states in Midwest. For example, let's say University of Oklahoma, University of Tulsa, University of Washington, University of Arizona is one of them. There are 50 states in the US. Each of the state has private and public universities. I want you to research and figure out, hey, which universities are actually good for my course. If you're applying for top colleges, great. They're famous already. If you're applying for these smaller colleges, there's also a higher chance of getting some kind of scholarship or some kind of assistantship when you're coming here, because the amount of international students are lesser in these universities, which gives you a benefit, which gives you opportunities for TA, GA, RA, etc., etc. Number fifth, not reaching out to colleges and counselors for waivers. Hear me out. I'm not a pro counselor guy. I don't like counselors because sometimes they ask you to apply for universities you really don't want to apply for. My recommendation is go for counselors which do not force you to apply for the universities they are asking you to apply for. Go for counselors which are assisting you, which are like, hey, you apply to the universities you want to, and you can also apply to these universities because they are safer, and we have some college application waivers. Like I mentioned, Radical School of 100. What you can do is you can also reach out to the universities and tell them that you cannot afford application fee, and they will give you a waiver code. It won't work all the time, but you can ask ChatGPT for a email format or a email draft email and modify according to the university and send it out, and it will benefit you because you're saving $100 per application. Number 6, not applying to different programs at the same colleges. Some colleges have computer engineering and computer science. Some colleges have data science and data analytics. Some colleges have construction engineering management and building construction management. I want you to apply to both colleges if you really want the brand name. For example, Purdue has computer and construction engineering management and construction management technology. The jobs you will be getting after those courses are very similar, but you still get the brand name, and one is more difficult to get in than the other. Same thing happens with computer science and computer engineering. Yes, you are looking for some certain courses, you're looking for a certain degree because you want to go into a certain field. For example, with product managers as well, right? They go into business analytics, they go into engineering management. Same thing. Maybe there is a certain university with engineering management and business analytics course. The end goal is what you should be focusing on. The end goal is that I want to be a software engineer. The end goal is I want to be a product manager. The end goal is I want to be a mechanical engineer. Doesn't matter if it's what's the name of the degree. What really matters is that you got the brand name which you really wanted. So apply to multiple programs at the same colleges and in the hope that you might be able to get it. That's all my recommendations were. I'm going to leave all the links I mentioned in the description. Subscribe if you haven't, and thank you so much. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.